The cold wind howled through the dense forest, piercing the night with an eerie, haunting cry. Mira pulled her jacket tighter around her, clutching her backpack as she hurried down the narrow trail. The moon was barely visible behind swirling clouds, casting fleeting shadows that danced like specters among the twisted trees. She had heard stories about the Wendigo, an insatiable creature from legend, a malevolent spirit corrupted by greed and hunger, cursed to forever wander the wilderness, hunting those who dared venture too deep. But Mira had laughed them off, dismissing the tales as old superstition. Tonight, something felt different. Her friends had dared her to check out the abandoned cabin deep in the woods, a relic of a forgotten mountain settlement, long since deserted after mysterious disappearances. Mira, always eager for an adrenaline rush, agreed, and now she regretted it. Every step seemed to echo too loudly, intensity furrowing her brow as shadows flickered and melted around her. She kept telling herself she was just imagining things, but a faint, sickening sense of unease settled like a weight in her chest. As she neared the cabin, its wooden frame creaked ominously, shadows stretching across the windows like grasping hands. Mira hesitated before pushing the door open, the rusty hinges protesting loudly. Inside, the air was thick with dust and the scent of decay. Furniture was overturned, remnants of a life long gone. She flicked her flashlight around, illuminating the empty space, her heartbeat quickening. Suddenly, a faint scraping sound came from the darkness beyond her light. Mira froze, listening. It was a soft, shuffling noise, almost like something dragging itself across the floor. Her pulse drummed louder. She pressed herself into the corner, trying to steady her trembling hands. Maybe it was just an animal, she whispered to herself, or the wind playing tricks. Then she heard it, an unnatural, guttural growl that vibrated in the very walls of the cabin. Her breath hitched. Out of the shadows, a figure emerged, tall, gaunt, too limb-like and twisted to be human. Its eyes gleamed with an unnatural yellow glow, piercing through the darkness as it moved on elongated limbs that seemed almost too long for its body. Its skin was pale, almost translucent, and covered in patches of matted, dark hair. Its mouth curled into a grimace revealing jagged, yellowed teeth, a hunger that seemed to swallow every shred of human warmth. Mira backed away, heart hammering against her ribs. She wanted to scream, to run, but her body was frozen by terror. The creature moved with unnatural agility, silent despite the creaking of the old wood. Its head tilted, as if studying her, then it let out a chilling, piercing scream that shattered the silence of the night. Turning on her heels, Mira stumbled out of the cabin, her mind screaming for escape. She didn't dare look back as she sprinted through the woods, branches scratching her face, roots threatening to trip her. Behind her, the creature's growls echoed, unstoppable, relentless. She burst out onto the trail, stars reappearing as she broke through the tree line. But the Wendigo was not far behind. It was faster than she had imagined, shadows flickering at the edge of her vision, always just out of reach. Her lungs burned, and she knew she couldn't outrun it forever. In her panic, Mira remembered an old story her grandfather had told her, the legend speaking of the Wendigo's weakness, fire. Burning branches, torches, anything that could scare it away. She grabbed a fallen tree branch near her and struck a match with trembling fingers, the flame flickering weakly but lighting her path. The creature hesitated, eyes narrowing at the flame's glow. She held up the burning branch, screaming for it to stay away. The creature paused, its elongated face twisting in a feral snarl, then suddenly lunged, faster than she could react. Mira screamed as claws scraped her arm, tearing flesh and leaving a jagged wound. The pain was sharp, but the fire grew stronger, smoke curling from the burning branch. The creature wilted back momentarily, snarling and howling as it recoiled from the flames. Mira seized her chance. Without hesitation, she plunged further into the woods, the fire in her hand casting flickering light as she ran blindly, guided by instinct and fear. Eventually, her strength waned, and she collapsed against a fallen log, blood dripping from her arm. Heart pounding in her chest, she knew she had to keep moving or face the creature once more. From somewhere ahead, she heard a distant sound, a faint crackle of fire. Her hope flickered anew. Maybe other humans had survived, or perhaps the legends were true, and the fire was enough to ward it off. Gathering her resolve, Mira pushed forward, clutching her bleeding arm as she headed toward the light. But as she grew closer, she saw a circle of burning torches, outlaws, settlers, or perhaps just other unlucky souls who had come here with hopes of banishing the beast, and she knew she wasn't alone anymore. Then, through the flames, she saw it again, the yellow glow of the Wendigo's eyes, watching her from the shadows, waiting patiently for the moment she was weak enough to strike. Mira's breath caught in her throat. No matter how brave she felt, she knew tonight was only the beginning. The legend was real, and the monster had tasted her fear. She gripped her makeshift torch tighter, feeling the fire's warmth against her palm, staring into the darkness that beckoned with hungry silence. The creature lurked just beyond the flames, its hunger insatiable, but so was her will to survive. And as long as she kept the fire alive, she hoped, desperately hoped, that the legend was true, and the Wendigo would be kept at bay, for now. But deep inside, she knew the forest held more horrors than she dared to imagine, and the creature was merely waiting, hungry, patient, and forever cursed to stalk the night.